This is a classroom of honeybees where they are not taught but trained. These honeybees sitting inside the circuit board will work as a digital sensor after their training. A sensor that can easily detect explosives and drugs. It is quite difficult to think and understand how a small insect can detect explosives and drugs so efficiently. And then how it sends its signal to us humans. But this is a fact and it is possible. This training starts from the ceilings of the bees where the first device is used to select the bees. After collecting in this device, they are shifted to the lab where their training begins. After leaving the ceiling, they are very violent, so they are first kept in a refrigerator to cool down so that their movements can be reduced. After cooling down, they are held by hand and placed in a harness in which they cannot fly but their face remains open. Now they are left in this harness for 30 minutes so that they can get used to their new environment. Loading each bee in the harness by hand is a very time-consuming task. That is why many laboratories do this work with the help of a machine. Now these bees are trained for the next 2 days. This training is exactly the same as training to detect drugs and explosives in dogs. Like dogs, the power of bees to smell is also very strong. These two creatures have the ability to smell their target for miles. If dogs need to be trained to detect explosives, they are trained to smell explosive powder from an early age. Whenever the dog smells it, it is given something to eat as a reward. It is taken care that dogs are not fed without the smell of explosives. Slowly, the dog understands that it will only get food when it smells explosives. Using this psychology of dogs, it becomes very easy to use them for explosive detection at airports. Whenever it smells explosives in a luggage, it speaks out in front of its owner or trainer, forced by its habit, and is fed as a reward at that time. Even if there is no explosive in a luggage, the trainer has to smell the explosive first and then feed it. But how do bees do this work? How do they tell humans that they have now smelled explosives or drugs? As we all know, bees suck the juice of flowers. When they smell flowers, they stick their tongue out. Their tongue works like a straw, which they can suck the liquid. It is not so difficult to change this habit of sticking your tongue out on the smell of flowers. When the bees trapped in the harness get tired, they are now shortlisted. For shortlisting, sweet water is applied to the cotton bud and placed in front of them. The bees that are interested in sucking the sweet water, they stick their tongue out. This is the point when these bees are shortlisted and sent to the next phase of training. Now these shortlisted bees are sprayed with explosive vapor for 6 seconds. And in the last 3 seconds, they are given a cotton bud dipped in sweet water. This process is run by an automatic machine. After a few hours, the bees are well trained. They understand that after this special smell of explosives, they will get sweet water as a reward. So now automatically after this special smell, their tongue comes out. Now these bees are fully trained, so now they are removed from the harness and released in a container. And the same training is now given to the batch of other bees. Here I am telling you that this training can be given to them on explosive powder and on narcotics as well. But now the problem is that humans can see this special response of bees through a microscope, but practically it is not possible to do this in airports and sensitive areas. Something will have to be done so that a machine can detect the smell of the bees and remove their tongue. There can be many ways to do this. One is video processing. Yes, the bees are fitted in a harness and placed in a monitoring device. The micro cameras in this device detect the removal of the bee's tongue through AI video processing, and this signal immediately displays an alarm on the screen. Along with this, the machine also puts the cotton in front of the bees as a reward. In addition to the cameras, the reaction of the bees can also be recorded with an infrared light. The infrared light is fitted under the bee's face in such a way that whenever their tongue comes out, the light on the sensor will be reduced. When this happens, the light sensor understands that now the bee's tongue is out. In the same way, 36 honeybees are put in a handheld machine, which is placed in front of the passenger's bag by the security staff for 6 seconds. If there is a drug or explosive in the bag, then the red alarm will immediately be displayed on the screen. If this power of dogs and bees is compared, then a lot of difference comes out. The training given to dogs takes many years, while the bees are trained in just a few hours. Not only this, but the cost of bees is also very low compared to dogs. Along with this, there are many cases where the use of dogs is not possible, such as finding the buried landmines in the ground. These landmines explode by detecting even the slightest weight on them, and obviously this is not the work of dogs. For this, the trained bees are left open and monitored by drones. If they smell explosives somewhere, they start wandering around it, in the hope that they will get sweet water now. This reaction of the bees is being seen live through the camera, and experts directly reach the spot, reward the bees and dig the landmine and make it useless. Until now, only trained dogs and bees have not been used for security purposes. In fact, there are many other animals that have been used extensively for military operations in history. And it was very beneficial for them too. You will soon see. Thank you very much for your loving comments. See you in the next great video.